Hey guys, it's about time again to explain Patreon, because I haven't done that for a while. I try not to do it too often and spam these things out, because it just gets annoying, but every now and then there's the moment where we hit a tipping point, and I realize thousands of new people are here that have not been here in any span of time, where this kind of video has gone up to explain this kind of thing, and then things get confusing, so it's good to just put pulses of information out every now and then so people are up to date. So, I have a very specific schedule for the video output on this channel. I have 6 videos that go up every day, and those are the playthroughs where a new video comes out every day, and 3 of them are just generic slots where I can put whatever I want in there. One of them is specifically set up to be indie games. One of them is set up to be puzzle/adventure games, mainly because I always want to be playing those games and I like covering them, but they always get, like, those games and indie games often get pushed aside when the 500 giant games come out, which you'll notice, like, people are constantly talking about, like, play Evil Within, play The Surge, play Shadow of War, is that the new one? And 500 other AAA games that all come out in the holiday seasons, and, like, it's impossible. And the scramble to play those games would often lead to me not playing stuff like indie and Patreon when I want to be always covering that stuff. So that's why I have this kind of specific schedule. The 6th slot is the Patreon slot. And so that is a slot that's actually a game chosen by my audience. I don't have input in the process, really, and it's just a surprise what comes out each time. If you don't know already, the Patreon chosen games so far have been Crash Bandicoot, Super Meat Boy, Far Cry 4, Undertale, Anti-Chamber, Factorio, FTL, Oxenfree, This War of Mine, South Park: The Stick of Truth, StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty, Alien Isolation, Portal, Super Mario World, Hand of Fate, Doom, System Shock 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, Myst, Riven, and now Zelda, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, the current game. I have finished recording it, so I know how many videos are left and when the finale is going to be, and I can announce that. So, the finale for Zelda is going to be Wednesday, October 25th, and based on that, that means that the premiere for the next game is going to be Thursday, October 26th. So let's talk about how the actual game is chosen for those that don't know. So people that support me on Patreon, which is at patreon.com/SebastianSB, they can elect to pledge any amount of money they want to, and they can do so for as long as they want to, and they can leave whenever they want to. And they even have features now where you can suspend for a month if you, like, want to skip one payment or something like that. You can take a break and things like that. This is the site that changed my life, kind of. So I was working a cubicle job while multitasking with Let's Playing, and I was splitting between the two, and it was incredibly draining because all of my time ever was consumed, and I was basically working 2 full-time jobs for poverty pay and everything like that. I'm still basically in poverty level, but now I'm not doing the other job, and I'm just doing this one, and this is my full-time job, and it has been my full-time job for like a year and a half now, which is crazy to me to think about. The thing about Patreon is that YouTube ad revenue is, like, tiny, so, like, my audience is simultaneously like this tiny baby channel and this gargantuan following, depending on what your perspective is, and I have both perspectives all the time, essentially. I look at my viewership and I'm like, oh my god, every single day, like 20 to 30,000 people watch my videos, or people watch my videos 20 to 30,000 times more accurately, because of course people watch several videos per day in many cases, but, like, that is a number that I can't fathom. And it's terrifying at times to think about how, if you're a channel that makes a significant living on YouTube just purely from ad revenue, then the numbers of people that must be watching your videos is like entire cities at some point. Like, it's hard to wrap my mind around that. So I'm totally awestruck by the gargantuan audience that I do have already, because I can't even process it. But that does not translate into the kind of money you think that kind of audience would be, and for obvious reasons. One, of course, being that, like, YouTube is a free platform where people make money via ads, as opposed to say a comedy, like a comedy stage presence, or like a concert or something where everyone pays to get in, and that's why those people are making so much money and stuff like that. So, while it is a huge audience, it does not lead to a significant amount of money, and I definitely could not make a living full-time on YouTube with my comparatively small channel. But I do work full-time YouTube, as it turns out, because even with only 40,000 subscribers, and I had significantly less when I went full-time, I think it was closer to 25,000 subscribers, like, I have a tiny audience compared to when people say you're able to go full-time, and that's entirely because of my Patreon following. I just kind of did it as a lark at one point, like somebody... Every now and then people will talk about trying to support me and donate and whatnot, and they would ask for about, like, PayPal links and stuff like that, and finally I just went through and made a Patreon one day, and to my surprise, people were jumping on it, and then I'm like, okay, we need some kind of reward structure, and that's where this Patreon voting thing came in. And that's been my reward structure for, you know, giving back to the people that choose to do this thing that changed my life, because the income I get from Patreon, supplementing with the income I make from YouTube, is what makes this whole thing possible as a thing that gets my complete attention, as opposed to a side project that I work on for a few hours a day and then, like, can't possibly pay attention to more because I have to do another job in addition to it and stuff like that. So the way that the game choosing works is that there are nominating supporters. There's the people who pledge $15 a month or more, which is significant, and I don't expect people to do that generally, but these are the people that go the extra mile there. These people are the ones that you see at the end of the Patreon credits that have yellow names instead of white ones, the shorter list when the credits roll at the end of videos. Those people get to nominate, and so the nominating day is going to be Saturday, October 21st. That's when game nominations come in. What I do is I contact you via the email that you registered on Patreon, and you will get a message on your inbox in Patreon, and assuming you don't have it set to spam or something like that, Patreon will email you to notify you of the message. And all of the people that are in the nominating tier will then get the ability to fill out a form and nominate a game of their choosing. And they have about 48 hours to do that. Then, Monday, October 23rd, 2 days later, because I always give people about 48 hours just because it would suck if people miss out on these things because they happen to be away from internet for 24 hours, but, you know, there's a limit to how much I can cater for every single person's potential camping trips or whatever, so like I can only really delay it for one day. Then on Monday the 23rd, that's when voting begins. So you don't have to be a nominating supporter for that. Anyone who pledges $1 or more, the entirety, I say $1 because I think that's the minimum for the entire service. Anyone who supports me on Patreon, period, they get to be in the voting phase. That's the universal part. And so what happens is that all the games that were nominated by the people in the nomination tier 2 days ago, all those games are going to be in the voting tier, and then the people vote for those. So that's how we got Myst, that's how we got Ocarina of Time, and that's how we got Crash Bandicoot. It's been a variety. It's been a wild ride watching this thing writhe back and forth into a bizarre variety of games. Like, there was a period in our voting where this war of mine was tied with Overwatch, and I had to do a tiebreaker vote between this war of mine and Overwatch. That says so much about demographics, doesn't it? Like, because Overwatch is like the biggest game ever, but tied with that in my audience was this war of mine. Not only an indie game, but an indie game that had been out for years at that point, I believe, so it's like the hype wave, if there ever was one, was likely past to some extent. It's fascinating, and yeah, that's how and interestingly, yeah, I've become a channel where my audience will be like, you should play System Shock 2 and Myst. This is great. It's fascinating to get a mirror at my own audience in a way. But yeah, if you want to be a part of the nominating process, then you pretty much need to get into this thing in the next 24 hours in order to get in before the nominations begin, by the time if you're seeing this when it's new. And then just pay attention to that schedule. Saturday we're going to do nominations, Monday we're going to do voting, Wednesday is when Ocarina of Time ends, and Thursday is when the next Patreon chosen game that will have been chosen through this process will begin. So that's how the whole process works. You don't have to be a part of any of it if you don't want to. I'm not trying to guilt anyone to any of this. There's no obligation to do it. And the series that comes out of it, as you've seen in Ocarina of Time and all those other games I mentioned, is free and available to everybody regardless of the Patreon support. The Patreon support just gets you this little bit of influence, this one chance at affecting the course of a particular part of the channel. I do not make exclusive content for Patreon. There is no, there are no videos hidden behind a paywall. I won't necessarily promise that there never will be, but I don't think there'll ever be Let's Plays at the very least. I toy around sometimes about the idea there might be like some sort of like Patreon exclusive Q&A series, or Patreon, like, not like the turning the current Q&A series thing, but like, I don't know. I'm just saying that the gates potentially open, that there might be some kind of weird vlog discussion something one day. There's always a possibility I might choose to make something exclusive, but it will not. But the Let's Plays that you're all here for, we're definitely not going to be hidden behind a paywall, and anything that is hidden behind a paywall ever, if that were to happen, would probably be something that's specifically Patreon's based anyway, where it's kind of for the Patreon supporters and they're the ones that care about it to begin with, or something. I'm just rambling at this point. I am just off topic. These things always go for way longer than they need to. Anyway, thanks for putting up with my long-ass bullshit explanation of the thing that you probably already knew anyway, but hey, now 10 more people will understand the thing that some people didn't understand. Although, frankly, I think that the people that don't understand how these systems work are often the same people that don't click on the videos that explain it, so this might entirely be a moot point. But thanks for putting up with this. You might be noticing that there's a Cuphead video in the background here, and you might be wondering what the heck's up with that Cuphead video. Well, I'm doing a Cuphead playthrough with Andrew, so boom, there's your reward for sitting through all this. Go watch me play Cuphead with Andrew. You can go to Andrew's channel right now, The Sad Games, and you can watch us play, you can watch me trying to guide him through Dark Souls, because that's on his channel, and you can watch me and him co-oping Cuphead. Both those things will eventually be on my channel, I'm sure, but like, I just need to fit my schedule somewhere. The main thing for me is that I visit Andrew once a week, and there's like a commute and everything, because ever since I got the job that I had before I went full-time on this thing, I have not lived in the same town as him. So it's kind of a hassle to record with him, but I want to, so I make time for it and everything. But it means that we often, when we're recording a game, we often don't get a full week's worth of content for that game in that week. So that means that as somebody who values having daily videos in a series uploading to my channel and not dealing with weird outages and gaps and stuff like that, it means that I prefer, usually, to record the game with him until it's finished and then start uploading it to my channel. Zero Escape, or not, I mean, 999, 9 Doors, 9 People, 9 whatever, shit. The 999 game was an exception, and that was kind of stressful, honestly, trying to stay ahead of the schedule of the videos coming out while trying to stay ahead. It's a mess. There's a lot of logistical messes here. So Cuphead will probably air after the finale of some other game, after we've already finished recording it, and Dark Souls will probably air on my channel at some point. Part of me feels bad about, because I keep promising playing Dark Souls and Demon Souls again. Part of me wants to play them again on the channel before I air the Let's Play with Andrew version, just because it's like, at this point, I've not done the thing that I said I was going to do so many times. But yeah, those will be on my channel at some point, and you can watch them at Andrew's channel now as they come out, and there will be outages and gaps because of our recording schedule, but he's chosen to just go with those gaps and just accept them, even though people are all constantly like, oh, you finally gave up on Dark Souls, huh? Every time he doesn't upload for 2 days, even though, like, we've explained this over and over again. Whereas I will wait until I can do it all as one continuous thing at some point. Thanks for watching like always, and I'll see you next time.